Good morning, Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back, everybody, to the newest episode of Morning Throners podcast. We're here talking Ned 6.
Woo!
Ned
Whoa,
6,
whoa.
That's wild. We haven't been to 6 on any character.
That's not true,
True.
Jeff.
Oh, sorry. Who else has been there?
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, I'm always right. I only speak facts.
Speak facts, spit facts. That's
So,
all you gotta do.
in full, don't forget to follow us, like us, share, subscribe, comment. Glow has his own little thing going on Pornhub. You can follow him there as well. Before we get going, Kyle, what are your thoughts on this chapter? Because the last chapter you said it was a really good one, right? So let's see.
Well,
Just curious
Glow
what you
was
think.
really about the last chapter. It was good, but I don't know that I specifically said that. But this one was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll all come together eventually, and it's the start of something big. But as of now,
Give me a 1 to 10 rating, and then we'll get another. We'll let you revise it if you want at the end.
maybe like a 3 or 4. Like it was
Okay.
just
3 out of
kinda-
4 out of 10?
That's a rookie score.
I mean, you gotta think. A tenth of them are gonna be 3s, right? Which is how the math adds up. So, if this has got to be one of them,
I don't know that it's perfectly.
Is that how math adds up?
1 to
that's
10.
how a perfect 1 to 10 score should work at the end of the day. So I'm just saying,
Nelson.
it's not horrible when you put it in perspective.
Yeah, alright, okay.
All right, keep going.
What?
If this was the show podcast and you were giving me shit for that score, you'd be saying that because there's no fighting. Jeff only cares about the fighting and the blood.
Well, that's
true.
different. When we were rating the show, it was like.
But there's
on a
also only
1 to
been like
10
2
rating,
fighting.
not-
Not enough
There's also
hot
been like
13-year-olds
only
for Jeff.
2
He
fighting
gave it a
chapters,
2.
and there's only been like 2 fighting chapters, maybe a few more now that we've had John training. But like one of them was like with Arya and a wolf, and the other one was John training or Bran falling. That's like the most action we've had so far. So
Yeah,
you can't take that argument here. We're on what at chapter 28
So
now.
here's
27.
here's probably a better way to put it as well. Is like in a bottle, this chapter by itself, not so exciting. But in the
Gotcha.
scheme of things,
Agree.
it probably has a lot higher rating.
All right, let's dive into it. How's it start out?
So
That
it starts
Bitching
out.
about the hands tourney, man.
Who
Yeah,
is new
Yeah,
character?
so
Commander
we're
of the
We're at a
Watch.
small council. And
Janos Slint, commander of the City
Janos.
Watch.
Janos, I like it.
I know Giannis. I don't know. Maybe it's Janos.
I'm calling him Yan.
No,
Giannis
he was
from now on.
Janos.
Thanos.
Janos
Giannis.
Seike.
Thanos.
He was
Thanos.
fucking.
Alright.
He was
Giannis.
Transylvanian.
Janus?
That's not
Janus
even a
Slint?
joke.
Dude, Disney's gonna fuck us up if we say that name one more time, so.
Janos.
All right, so he's here. He's saying, so what's his problem?
I need help.
Why?
Can't control the city.
Too many people!
It's kicking off. So hold on. I have the quote of what happened yesterday. So he says, Knights, I'm going to say how many people are arriving. He says he blames it on the people coming for the tourney. Knights have been arriving from all over the realm. And for every night, we get 2 free riders, 3 craftsmen, 6 men-at-arms, and 12 merchants. 24 whores, and more thieves than I dare guess. This cursed heat, I'd have the city in a fever to start. And now, with all these visitors, last night we had a drowning, a tavern riot, 3 knife fights, a rape, 2 fires, robberies beyond count, and a drunken horse race down the street of the Sisters. The night before, a woman's head was found in the Great Sept, floating in a rainbow pool. No one seems to know how it got there or who it belongs to.
That was good, Nels. Proud of
Just
you,
a lot
bud.
of just a lot of
Yeah.
shit going on in the city with all
Dude,
these new people.
In one night, I
Mayhem.
mean, granted, there's a ton of people, and I think I said it earlier, even though it's not said in the book yet, but I think there's over 1 million people in this city. But
So that's
still,
actually not a bad night then.
Is
I
If
mean,
you're
it?
looking at
think
a
about
million-
think about one night in Philadelphia. What
Yeah.
happens? You don't fucking know what's going on
A
down there.
drowning, a riot, 3 knife fights, a rape, 2 fires, and robberies beyond count all in one night.
And a head ends up in a fountain.
That's
Yeah.
the
That's
night
2
before,
nights.
but
You've never been in Philly, apparently.
I lived in Philly for 2 years. Never once
you
did my
stay in
head
your
end up
house?
in the
You
Great
stayed
Sept.
in your
Oh,
house,
and there
huh?
was a race, and there was a drunken horse race.
There was probably at least 2 fires
There's
in
always
Philadelphia
gonna be
every
a-
night. There's
there's
going to be like
always
a
a dirt bike
microwave.
race down
There's also probably
Broad.
less
An
rules
oven.
in.
But how many people live in Philadelphia?
I have no idea. 3
I'm
million?
gonna say yeah, a couple million for sure.
Okay, so it's probably about the same area size, just not as tall.
Philly
you
is a
can't
big
be as
area.
tall. You can't be as tall in everywhere except for like the
So,
castle in a city.
1.5 million in Philly.
Okay. So it's
1.6.
It's probably a little bit bigger area wise. The thing is, does that count the stupid suburbs? Because I hate people who count the suburbs as part
Here's
of
the
Philly.
other thing.
Manion counts
I mean-
as Philly.
Yeah.
It's the city
There's,
on
Manioc,
there's probably
Roxborough.
less rule back then, I'd say. I think a lot of this...
Dude, I feel like there'd be way more crime back then because you can
That's
get
what
away
I'm
with
saying.
everything.
That's what I'm saying. So, like...
Yeah, but half of the shit is like, is it even counted as crime? Because you can literally go to like a whorehouse and just
bang
buy a
chicks.
That's true. So maybe there's less rapes and stuff.
But there was a rape. You said a rape.
There is a rape.
There's a
yeah.
rape.
Well, they must have just like stole the daughter off the street.
It was probably
Which-
after one of the fighting. People always say that people want to rape people after fighting. I say that a lot in these books.
Yeah. There's a lust in them.
So, anyway, Renly says to Janos, if you can't do the job, we'll find someone who can.
Well, hang
You know
on,
what I mean?
hang on. You,
Like,
you
nut up or
missed. You
shut
skipped the part about Ned bitching about it being the king's tourney.
Well,
This
he
is-
does that like
I know.
20 times.
I know, but then by the end though, he gives up. He's just like, whatever.
Well, that's
It's
like
mine now.
he knows he's not gonna fucking change this guy. It doesn't matter. Tell him
All
this
right, I just. He
Kyle,
wrote
do
it for a
you
reason.
even
that's what
remember
I'm
who
saying.
you predicted to win the tourney? Because it hasn't happened yet. I want to make sure it's in your
Joffrey.
That was your joking guess at first. I think you actually did guess that, but then you had a real guess.
I know, but I don't remember my real guess. No.
And you even chose who he beats. I think.
Well, who did I pick then?
No, he didn't.
I think you picked
he?
the Hound beating Sir Barristan. Because we read something about the Hound losing to Sir... It was like, we were learning about Sir Barristan, and it said, like, Sir Barristan got on horse by the Hound in Joffrey's tourney, and then you were like, the Hound's going to beat Sir Barristan in
Redemption.
this tourney. Is Ned and like, Renly and them going to be in the tourney?
I don't know. That's
Like
what
the
I was just
really
thinking. Does
fancy
Ned...
people?
No, I don't think Ned's gonna be.
You don't think Ned wants to take out his anger and just start beating the shit out of people?
So now you're trying to convince me, it's making me, making me change my mind because you know. But no, I don't. I mean, I think he wants nothing to do with it. It seems like, but maybe he does.
Maybe Jeff's trying to convince you the wrong way.
Oh, now I don't know. Now
Just
you've
being
got
a
me back
poker-
in the middle.
Just being a poker player.
Just being a poker player.
No, I think he wants nothing to do with it. He wants no part of it, and like if he's participates, he's gonna validate it. That's my
All right.
opinion.
What do you mean
Some-
validate?
some-
Like, I'm going to fight so I can fight you?
No,
No,
I'm
he's
saying he's
saying
gonna like
if
give
he
the tournament
fights in it,
validity.
he's-
He won't. You
yeah.
can't bitch about it anymore. If you're in it, if you're part of it, you can't
that's
bitch.
true.
All right, let's move on from the small council meeting and talk of the tourney. And...
Hold on. There's a couple things I want to
What?
touch in the council meeting. So, what is Jeff? Just we'll rapid fire. I'll ask you questions. You give me the answers.
Go.
What did they do about Janice not having enough people?
All right, so they
Ned
hired 50
gives
more
them
guys.
20.
And Jeff! Hello?
He said rapid fire.
No, he said Jeff. Ned gives him 20 of his men and they hire 50 more. That's rapid fire. You're trying to go in all fucking depth. Next question.
You're like, you know.
Not at all. Alex.
Pycelle and Littlefinger each say something about the tournament.
Everyone's blaming it on-
$40,000 prize.
Well,
40
Pycelle's like
40
bitch. Ned's bitching about it. Pycelle says like,
Bowheaded
It
whores.
brings a
jingling-
lot of money into the.
well,
people.
Pycelle says Highborn have a chance to win honor, and Lowborn like get a chance to forget all how shitty their lives are for a minute while they watch the tournament.
Horse
And
walking
Littlefinger
bow-legged
says
and
he
brings
jingling with
coin
each
into the
step.
city.
Yes, whores are jingling with each step.
And
because
walking
of their rich
bow-legged.
moment. And bow-legged. And then we get a little
Getting
information
blown
on
out.
Stannis. So, Jeff, read a little bit about Stannis. We're fortunate my brother Stannis is not with us because it's when they're talking about brothels.
We're fortunate my brother Stannis is not with us. Remember the time he proposed to outlaw brothels? The king asked him if perhaps he'd like to outlaw eating, shitting, and breathing while he was at it. If truth be told, I oftentimes wonder how Stannis ever got that ugly daughter of his. He goes to his marriage bed like a man marching to a battlefield, with a grim look in his eyes and a determination to do his duty.
Yeah, so then Ned just asked when his brother's going to come back from Dragonstone to join the seat. So, Kyle, you've never seen Stannis, but they talk
No
about
doubt
it
as soon
here.
as we scourged all those whores into the sea.
So Littlefinger makes another horror joke. They make a bunch of horror jokes. So, but Kyle, as a person who's never seen Stannis in a chapter, but like you get a lot of him here, what are your thoughts on him? So he's a year younger than Robert,
He's not Robert.
but he's like not like him at all.
Yeah. He got all the stick up his ass.
So what's he like? You
I
just
just
stick up his ass. That's pretty. Just okay. Summed it up.
I mean,
I
it
guess that
seems
sums it up.
like he's not interested
He's
in any of the
fucking
pleasures
bald.
So right.
of life. He's
So
just
what? Stannis is like. He's like you then. He's like not ripped out of his mind. Not super tall. 30, like early 30s. Just and stick up his
going
ass.
bald.
And then he's bald.
Ugly.
No,
Is he
is
bald?
bald. Yeah.
Maybe he's Glow. Maybe he's more like Glow.
I was gonna say I got
But
hair.
Glow doesn't have a stick up his ass.
And I don't think he's the shortest man.
I think he's pretty tall.
Yeah.
All right. So Littlefinger makes that jape, and then they're out. So Jeff, what happens? What happens afterwards?
Like when Ned leaves.
After the council chamber?
All right, so Ned heads back up to his room. He tells the guy to summon Jory, but
Harwin.
he starts. Whatever.
Thank
no
you,
one
Glow.
gives a fuck.
I
about
was gonna
Harwin.
say it anyway. There's another character name that they don't say, but I want to see if you guys know. He tells Harwin to tell his father. Who's his father?
The Master of Saddle
Of course, yeah, named.
Castle.
No.
I don't know.
I didn't expect you to get it. Last time in the spoiler section, Kyle, Jeff forgot like 3 major characters from like book 4 and book 5. Like one of them like has like multiple chapters as like a POV in book 4,
That's
and
not
Jeff
true.
like didn't even know who they were.
That's a long time ago.
Well, that is something I did always hear about these was like you have to constantly.
That's why
I don't
and I've
think we're
said it
gonna have
before
this. I
about
think
this.
doing this podcast is gonna help.
That's what I was gonna
us
say
not
is
have this
that
problem, but-
because like there's times when I read through this and I'm like I don't know who that person is, but I'm sure I'll hear about it later, so I don't even worry about it and keep going.
All right, so he tells Jory to come up, and while he waits and he's sweating his balls off, he opens up the big ass book that he got from Master Pycelle, and he flips to the Lannister page.
So the dad's name was Hullen, by the way, just so I know.
Hullen, that's it.
Hullen, the Master of Force, Harwin and Hullen. I always thought Harwin was younger, but if he's standing guard at the door, I guess he's older. But yeah. So he, like Jeff said, he opens his book, but it's not what I thought at first. I didn't even realize this until this read through. It's over 100 years old.
Yeah, it's
so like
old as
nobody
shit.
in this book is alive currently.
Yeah, nobody that was alive when these people were
What do you mean?
even.
Well, yeah. Oh,
That
yeah,
makes it even older,
Yeah, I
is what
meant
I'm
nobody
saying.
that's alive currently is in this book, and no one that's alive in this book is alive currently. Yeah, so both ways. Right?
He has the same fucking statement.
That's different than what I said though.
Sure.
I'm saying that these
What'd
people
you say?
all died before any of
6
these people were born even. So this is like a
Oh,
long time
really?
ago. Like yeah.
I didn't get that.
It was like a century, yeah. Didn't he say a century ago?
Yeah, 100 years.
Yeah.
So in this, Kyle, we were talking about this we recorded the spoiler section first for this time.
Yeah, I
we were
know.
talking about this in the spoiler section. Did you think that the part where he talks about Land the Clever was that in this book? Because it says this book is a list of weddings, births, and deaths, but then he talks about the Lannisters. But I don't know if maybe he's just thinking about what he knows himself as like, because it's kind of like Land the Clever is kind of like a folk.
He
hero
opened
from
to
the
the
Age
section of
Heroes.
House Lannister,
Yeah.
and then it goes into hoping something would leap out at him, and then he said that they're an old family tracing descent back to Land the Clever, and then
Exactly,
he goes
but
into this
it's not
stuff.
like, is he reading that or is he just thinking that because he's in their
Does
section?
he know this? Is your question? Ahead
Yeah,
of
like,
time?
well, I think he
Um,
knows this. I think he knows this, like, regardless if it's coming from the book or if it's coming from just his thoughts.
Then I don't know that it matters whether or not it's in the book.
Boom.
I guess you're right. I just didn't. I
Burn.
feel like
If he
it made it
knew
weird.
this, but I mean, maybe he's in it and he just recalling facts that aren't in the book as well.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, he's in the Lannisters and he's just like thinking, just like,
He
oh,
sees
I remember,
him there.
I remember
yeah,
a story
he's the first one, and
because
then he's
it's like he said, it's like Bran the Builder. He's like a
Yeah.
folk hero who's like famous, like Lannister, like kids from Lannister family. Maybe you know who Bran the Builder
But
is.
he was just like pretty much like a big Tyrion, pretty much. It sounds like, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said in the spoiler
Yeah.
section to Jeff. So he's like outwits the Casterleys, who are the ones who had Casterly Rock before, which is why that's why the Lannister seat's called Casterly Rock. And then the other thing it says is like he steals the gold from the sun for his hair.
His curly hair.
That's the only other thing it says about him, right? That's the only thing I have in my notes right now because I'm just
Yeah,
kinda
and they
writing
said he
stuff
wished
down
he
as we
was
go,
there
so.
now to winkle the truth out of the Stammable book.
So I don't think this is a spoiler because I don't know if it's true, and we were just talking about it. But we were saying like I said, I think Lannister. And I don't know if they agreed with me or not. They probably did. Lannister, the name, because he wrinkled it out from the Castleys, comes from this guy's first name. I assume they just turned it into a longer name and made it the Lannisters as their last name. And this guy's like their founder of their house.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. I don't know if they say it ever, but that's just what I was thinking just from reading this the first time.
Unless his name is Lan Lannister.
Lan Lannister. That'd
I
be.
doubt it is.
Nelsonster.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I doubt it is. All right. After this, Jory shows up. Now Ned basically gives him the letdown. You gotta pick 20 people, give them to Janos, give Alan command. The only thing I remember about Alan off the top of my head is Arya was pissed off when she was thinking about Nymeria. She was like, Alan said he was gonna be a knight, and even he didn't stand up for me. So I guess if he was gonna be a knight, maybe he's like one of the higher ranking people in the guard.
Okay.
Then Jory starts to say what he learned from the stable boy that they talked about in the last chapter, and they said that there was the 4 people that Stannis still had around. And they talk about them here again each, but it doesn't really matter who they are. It just matters like what we learn. Do you guys remember?
What we learned? That they're going to whorehouses and.
So we learned the
armory?
most actually from the one that he just talked to. So let's talk about the other ones.
All right, so I think the one person was a squire. Now he became a knight, and
So
basically
is that the difference between the stable boy and the watchman, or are you talking about somebody
So
else?
there's a bunch of people who like change positions, and
Yeah.
fucking George R. R. Martin does this shit. He does a bunch of shit on purpose to like try and confuse you, and like I feel like when he does that, you should pay attention to it. But I don't think it really matters in this case. A couple examples are he always says in interviews that in like basic writing school they always teach you never have 2 characters with the same first letter, and he purposely makes characters that are easy to confuse with each other, like when you say them the first
Yeah,
letter, like
lots of
Tyrion,
them.
Tywin. I don't know, just stuff like that. There's another thing later where there's 2.
Thanks, George.
This isn't a spoiler. There's 2 characters who are cousins. One of them is small and one of them is big, and they call them big and little, but they call them opposite. Like when they talk to them, so they call the big one little and the little one big, and it's really hard to understand that when they're talking about it. Like when you just read people talk, they say that the first time, right? When you're introduced, they say their names backwards, and
Yeah.
then from then on, it's just people either talking to them or like a narrator scribing. And then the big one did this, and then the little one did this, and you have to like flip it back in your mind. So he does that shit on purpose, like confuse you, which is kind of annoying, but he does it here. So the squire becomes a knight. The stable boy becomes a
Watchman.
Kitchen
watchman, and the kitchen pop boy no longer works in the kitchens, and actually never talked to John Aaron in person. Right, those are the 3
and
like, bugaboos
and
about
he
these
was
people.
taken away too, right? Didn't one of them go with Liza?
No, that was a
None of them-
guardsman.
none
They
of
said the
them lied.
guardsman
He
guardsman
says
that
the
went on
guardsman would know which whorehouse they went to
Yeah.
together.
because
So,
they
Kyle-
went on rides with him.
What all do we learn from these people?
Not a whole lot, actually.
He says not a whole lot, but then they tell us like a lot of stuff. It just doesn't
Yeah.
seem like you don't really know what's important.
So I
and
guess
what's
yeah,
not.
he used to go on rides, and he treated the horses well. He always gave them carrots and apples, and like he was a good dude all around.
Yep.
Um,
The other one said that. So the
strong-
squire
he was
is now
strong.
a knight.
He probably shouldn't have died.
What about the squire who's now a knight? What did he say?
He was like, I ain't talking at no.
I'm not talking to
master at arms.
master at
Yeah.
arms.
Cap-
Give me the fucking hand.
Was a master
Yeah.
of arms, captain of guard, captain
Captain
of guard.
But close enough. So he says, yeah, I'll talk to the hand, but I'm not talking to you. I'm too good for you.
Where is that?
I think.
That was when he talks about
Page 392.
It's in for me. It's in the top. It was in the top right of a page on the right, like middle right, and on the top page on the right. Yeah, the serving girl says that he had been reading a lot and that he was sad about his weak son. The other boy said that he had never spoken, but he heard a lot of gossip. And this guy says John was arguing with the king. He wasn't eating. He wanted to send Lord Robert Arryn, so his son, to be fostered at Dragonstone. So we heard earlier that he wanted to be the king, or someone wanted him to be Cersei, or somebody wanted him to be fostered at
So-
Casterly Rock.
One of the weird things,
with the Lannisters.
not to rewind too much, but he was visiting brothels with Stannis. Is the other side
Yeah,
of
so
this.
they first say that he was going riding, and then later they say that he was going. When they were going riding, they were going to
and we
brothels.
were just talking about how Stannis doesn't like going to brothels. So
He
this
was trying to
this is
outlaw
already
them at one
weird.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold on, Kyle. Were you saying that? Were you hearing what I was saying? John was arguing with the king. It wasn't even much. He wanted to send Robert to be fostered at Dragonstone, and we heard earlier in like one of the earlier chapters that they were going to foster Robert, who's John's son, to be fostered with the Lannisters.
Yeah.
He took an interest in hunting hounds, and they visited the armor. So all that information came from this guy who had never actually talked to him. But when we find out that the armor stuff has like something to it, it makes me think that the other stuff, like maybe it isn't important, but it's probably credible.
Yeah.
Wasn't the stuff like all of the stuff, and you
He's
can
got
correct me if I'm
reliable
wrong,
sources.
that might be, like they were like, oh well, this one source gave us all the most shit, and like they didn't even think it was like they didn't think it was a reliable source, right?
Yeah,
It was
because
like,
this
oh,
guy
it's
had
just, it
never
was just
spoken
kitchen
to him.
rumor or
Yeah,
whatever.
well, that's what I think, because this guy had never actually spoken to him, but he says a bunch of stuff. And again, a lot of it seems like not important. Like he wasn't eating. Does that really matter? He was arguing with the king. He took an interest in hunting hounds, sending Robert to Dragonstone, visited the armorer. Like the armorer turned out to be important, but we don't know if anything else there is important. But just because the armor is important makes me think this guy, the other stuff he says is probably true. I don't know. Again, you don't know, but
Oh, I know.
Oh, he knows.
so yeah, Ned thinks it's weird because they weren't friends. So like, why are they hanging out together? And then he finds out about the brothels. He's like, definitely, why are they going to a brothel? Stannis was definitely against this, and I don't think John would do that either. And he's like, the guards would know which brothel they were going to, but Lysa took them all back. So he thinks like the people he needs to talk to are Lysa, the guards,
And Stannis.
and Stannis, and they're all fucking gone.
What can
Kyle?
you do?
Yeah, I think you're right. What?
Mhm.
Just getting your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these people probably have the most information. I mean, there's no question about that. And maybe it's strange that they're all gone together. This could be something more than just them doing these things. Like just leaving to go to Dragonstone.
Yeah,
Were they
there's
sent
definitely
away?
something.
Were they forced
That was something I was going to
out?
ask you later.
A
There's definitely something
conspiracy.
up with the Dragonstone thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems
It's
weird.
Big Brother.
All right, so I have a couple questions that are straight out of the book that I wanted to see what Kyle thinks about them. So hold on, these questions are straight from the book. Kyle, let's see what you think. This is so Ned thinks that he like wonders what he wonders these questions to himself. The matter nagged to him. Why did Stannis leave? Had he played some part in Jon Arryn's murder, or was he afraid?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to them. I guess
have a
it could
thought
be
right now?
it could be all three of those. No, I'm just
It's
saying.
kind of all like one question. It's like,
what
why
happened
did he
to
leave?
Stannis?
Did he do it, or is he afraid it's going to happen to him?
I-
Those seem to be Ned's two conclusions. Right
I don't
now.
know
There's
why
no
he
which
would
one.
have done it. I mean, we know from this chapter. All we know about, or all I know about Stannis is from this chapter. So there's no real motivation.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But it is definitely strange that he went to this place just out of nowhere, and nobody knows when he'll be back or anything about it. Really, it seems like
Yeah.
so, I
Then
mean,
Ned says he doesn't even know what could frighten him to go there.
they could have locked all. They could have all been. What am I looking for? They could have executed all of these people. They could have locked them all up.
What do you
who
mean?
knows?
What people?
The people that
The
are
guards
gone.
and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
could have killed what's her name, Lysa, and the
Lysa.
guardsman, and
So you think that's why
Stannis.
they dipped?
well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's another possibility. Maybe they're actually dead or locked up. And like well, we talked to the armor. I guess we didn't get into the armor yet, but
Yeah, we're about to get there. So yeah, so Ned gets dressed in his clothes. So we find out he was kind of naked this whole time, and he puts on clothes that are like very obvious who he is, like Winterfell all over him.
Winterfell colors,
the
Winterfell
hand.
sigil, hand symbol.
Puts on his Winterfell jersey.
Everything.
He's
Winterfell
got to be
jersey.
sweating like a motherfucker in that cloak.
Yeah.
Especially going up that hill, like he's got
Up the hill, it's already hot as shit. It's definitely like heavy ass fur. Like,
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't. I think
sweating.
he thinks later that's like some of his men must be hot, but he doesn't
Yeah,
ever say anything.
but they
about
don't
them being
complain
hot.
because they're.
He
tough
might not
as
have
shit.
anything on underneath that cloak.
So right before they leave, he thinks something
I
about
think it's
Renly.
a doublet, whatever a doublet is.
So Kyle, he thinks something about Renly right before he leaves. What does he think about Renly?
Yeah, I'd fuck him. No, that's not what he thinks.
Oh shit, that close.
What did he think about him? I don't remember.
He recalls Renly showing him something.
Yeah, he's like, why wasn't Renly invited with Stannis on these rides? Like, why was it John? Because they were both in the council. And then he's like, and the other day, Renly pulled me aside and showed me a small painted figure and asked me if it looked like Lyanna.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. It was like a locket or whatever, and it was really weird that he was like, is he trying to live Robert's life? kind of
Well,
thing.
he says, like, does this look like Lyanna? And he says no, and then he's disappointed. Yeah, so I'm just asking you, what do you think of that? What do you make of it? It's a weird little, like, memory. They
I
just
don't know that okay, he did seem disappointed. I don't know that it's strange, and obviously, I mean, it even says that struck him as more than passing queer. So obviously, even Ned thinks it's weird, the whole situation. But I don't really know what to think of it, other than it seems like maybe he's trying to emulate Robert.
Jeff, comments?
Marjorie's probably a smoke show.
She's gotta be so hot.
Who's Loras Tyrell? Who's that?
Look,
So,
it's her brother.
He's only mentioned once before, and this isn't a spoiler because this is from Cat 4, chapter 18, I think. I'll read I read this in the spoiler section, so that's going to be in the past for the viewers, or in the future for the viewers. But here, I'll read it again for Kyle. Until the Tornium, this is out of Cat 4, when she's talking to Littlefinger, and I think this is Littlefinger talking. Until the Tornium, Prince Joffrey's name day, he said, crossing the room to wrench a dagger from the wood. I backed Sir Jaime in the jousting, along with half the court. Peter's sheepish grin made him look half a boy again. When Loras Tyrell unhorsed him, many of us became a trifle poorer. Sir Jaime had lost 100 golden dragons. The Queen lost an emerald pendant. I lost my knife. Her Grace got her emerald back, but the winner kept the rest. So Loras is the one who unhorses Jaime in the last tournament they had. So he's pretty good.
Gotcha.
Because we hear that Jaime's pretty good, and he's in the King's Guard, so he's supposed to be one of the best either way. If he's not, even through, like, we didn't hear otherwise. But that's the only other time we mentioned it, that they mentioned Loras again. Just I wondered if you would bring that up, so I got the quote. Yeah, so on his way out, he gets a couple guards. They go the whole way. He has a couple guards posted throughout his
He's
path.
fucking paranoid.
He is, because of Littlefinger. He has guards
And
posted on his
Spider-Man.
path to see if anybody's following him. And then, well, he's paranoid of Varys because of Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Because Littlefinger showed him the spy. So yeah, he thinks Varys is following him. And he goes up the Street of Steel, sees a knight coming in, Beric Dondarrion. They basically just say he has red hair, red gold hair, and he's wearing black. And they're like, "Did you come for the tournament?" And he's like, "I came to win the tournament." And then everyone cheers, and he's like, just seems like classic Apple Knight, like from any fucking like. Seems like knight from any fairy tale ever.
Then this dude just falls off his horse.
He doesn't fall off, does he?
I'm just kidding.
No, but that
yeah,
was yeah.
hypothetical.
It was
Gotcha.
satire.
So then Ned goes, Kyle, anything on him? Nothing? It's like we get like half a sentence about him, so I didn't.
About
so
who?
I just thought it was
About
funny.
Beric?
Beric done.
Yeah,
his
I
last
don't
name is
know.
Dondarrion.
I think he's just gonna be there.
What are your predictions for Beric Dondarrion? Where do you think he's going to end up?
I think he
Nelson
gets
after.
19th place.
Glow, you can't say his last name. That's a spoiler. They don't say
I didn't
it,
hear
they
it,
just
don't
say
worry.
Beric.
Yeah, they do.
No, they just show his sigil and say his first name. They say Sir Beric.
With a lightning bolt. But I didn't hear what Glow said, so we're good.
Jeff, how does he get the lightning bolt sigil?
All right, come on. We don't need
His
to go into that.
his family member got struck by lightning.
No, his family member was about to fight two really good knights, and they got struck by lightning.
Yeah, whatever.
That's from the prequel book, so that's not a spoiler.
What a way to win.
Find a way to win every time. All right, Ewo.
So
sometimes
we
the
should
way
have
to
more
win.
Streets of Steel nowadays. I don't know why we don't name our streets that.
Why? Just because there's like a dude on stilts walking around?
That's just no. It just sounds like a cool name for a street. Street of Steel. Steel
And
Street.
then just have like 8 forgers.
Yeah, so Beric Dondarrion passed by, and Ned keeps on traveling up towards the abode. I forget what the house is called.
I think they just call it the house, but it
Yeah,
does
it's
have
a
a cool
house.
door. It's got a cool door with like a battle,
fight,
a hunt,
yeah.
A hunting scene.
Oh,
Hunting scene.
hunt.
made of-
Weirwood.
It's carved of weirwood and ebony.
Well, and then
What's
there's
ebony?
like knights.
Ebony's
Ebony's
like a
black.
black.
Porn category.
Ebony.
Oh, God.
And
Nelson.
I together in perfect.
Harmony.
Hell
Yeah, but a black
Jeff.
what? Is it like stone or is it like wood? Because weirwood's wood. but if
Ebony's
it's
a color.
I
Actually,
know it's
don't
like a
There's
color,
ebony
but they,
wood,
but
too.
they-
It
Is
is
it
a
wood?
Yeah.
Is it
probably
wood?
just
Thank
a
you,
wood.
Kyle. Shut up, Glow. Thank you, Kyle. You don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, Glow. Piece of shit.
dense black-brown hardwood.
And then there's two fucking like statues with dope looking armor. Phoenix armor and unicorn armor on either side of the door. And he goes in, and this dude comes out. Kyle, do you remember his name? Funny name.
Tabo Mott.
Tabo Mott. Introduced himself. He's like, I make the goatest armor in all the land. It's
Like
art.
cool colors.
Cool colors. I can dye it. I can make it into cool antlers. I can.
Like you saw Renly's shit, right?
Steel. You saw Renly's shit. I made all Loris's shit, and he won tournaments. Just gives him the whole spiel. Ned's like, I'm not here for anything. What did Stannis and Jon want? And he's like, they want to see the boy. He's like, let me see the boy. Take him back to the fort. He's got just like a ton of cats working back here. And they call over this kid. His name's Gendry. He's about Rob's age, so it's about 14, right? That's how old Rob is?
I think Rob's like 15 now.
Okay. I put Gendry's age at approximate 14.
I think that's fair.
He was jacked. He was just, because he's been working in the forge, he's just like muscled across his chest and arms. He's a good worker, super strong. And he tells Tabo Mott's like Gendry, show the hand of the king the helm you made. And he shows him this like bull-headed helm that looks sick. And Ned's like, oh, that's sick. Like, can I buy it? I think Ned was probably just being nice. And I don't think like Ned would ever wear this. I think he's like, I can buy this for like
He's definitely
nothing because I'm fucking rich. And then you think Ned's gonna wear this helm?
No, he said not.
Fuck no.
Oh no, yeah. So yeah, I think
he would never wear
nice.
it. Come on.
So Gendry says no.
I made
And
it for
Ned's-
me. What?
Jeez,
Sounds
Glow,
like Glow.
you get so mad. Like you think all these people are so mad about this stuff,
Well,
crying.
Gendry was kind of pissed. He was
I
like,
don't think he
no,
was
I made this for
crying,
me.
though.
I'm
You're
not
like-
giving this to... All right, yeah, come on, dude. I'm just,
Saying,
embellishing
fuck
a
off,
little
man.
bit.
This ain't for
That's how
sale.
Glow would have acted in this situation.
This is my helmet, not yours.
All right, Jeff, go. Keep going.
And Tabo Mott's just like, fuck you.
And he's
Give
like,
this
sorry,
helmet up.
Lord, it's for sale. Yeah.
All right, let me talk so Nelson doesn't get mad about when I haven't talked.
Don't
for
worry
10
about
minutes.
this helmet, lad. I can make you a little helmet way better than this one.
All right, getting to the
Believe me.
important part of this conversation, Ned starts asking, like, so when the hand used to come to you, like, what'd you guys talk about? And Gendry was like, so we used to talk about, like, how I was doing, if I was being treated well, who my mother was, what happened to her, and Ned was like, well, what
What'd
did
she
you tell
look
him?
like?
What'd you tell him? And he was like, oh, I'm doing good here, I guess. My mom died when I was little, but I remember her singing to me, and she had blonde hair. That's
Yellow
pretty much
hair.
all he
Bro.
remembered.
She worked
And
in
she
an ale
works
house.
in an ale house.
Grow up, Glow.
She works in an ale
Did
house.
the bald one talk to him? No, he just looked at him like he raped somebody or raped his daughter.
Jeez, Kyle, you're just gonna read a super long quote? Jeez,
No,
that's all
no,
you
I'm
do,
just
whatever.
fucking telling you what happened. And then the master yells at him again, right?
Yeah, for having bad language.
And then
You're
then
speaking
he
to the
explains
hand.
the helmet. He's like, they call him bullheaded, so that's why he made the fucking helmet.
So Ned looks at him close, and he sees his jaw and he sees his blue eyes, and he says he knew. We know now what he knew. What's he know, Kyle?
He knows he's a bastard.
Just a bastard?
So this is my question. Like, so this is where I don't know, and it doesn't tell you who.
I know. But-
So like, is he a Lannister bastard?
They don't just say a king's bastard.
Where do they say it?
The last line of the book, of the
Oh,
paragraph,
God,
of the
Kyle.
chapter.
Oh, Kyle,
Yeah,
I told
king's
you he
bastard.
wouldn't know, guys.
A king's bastard.
Yeah.
How many kings do we know right now?
Robert.
Yeah, who's old enough to have a 14-year-old bastard, and we know he likes to fuck everybody. I don't know if they
fuck.
spell it out any more than that
so,
later.
So what are the other guys then? Are they just lords then? Maybe that's my problem. Is I still see all the heads of these families
No,
as
Robert's
kings.
the only king.
Okay.
Yeah, they're lords. High lords and then lords. Like there's like Sam's dad is a lord.
Okay. Like I said, I
But-
think my problem is
He's not
just
on the same status as
differentiating
Ned's.
that
Yeah.
syntax or whatever you want to call it.
So, what does Ned find out when he looks at this guy? This kid?
So, as a recap,
For any other first-time readers who missed it, does that count as a spoiler? Because like I don't think you should have missed it there.
I mean, yeah, come on, Kyle.
because I don't know. Like next chapter, they're not like because Gendry is. I still don't want to say it.
So no, well, I mean, I don't know that it does count as a spoiler. I like I said, I guess my problem was that he was talking about. I don't know. I guess you're right. I guess the description does match Robert when he was younger too. Good looking, in shape, blue eyes. I probably should have caught it. I didn't.
Well, just the fact that they say
idiot.
King's Bastard is like kind of like supposed to be.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move
heavily
on.
hinted at
He
the very
missed
least.
it. What do you think's gonna come of Gendry?
Yeah. So what's the point in all this? There's more to cover in this chapter, and I'll look through my notes. There's not much, but just now that you have that realization, what's the point of this part of the chapter at least?
Well, they obviously knew something. Like, so it sounds like there's too many people finding out about Gendry.
Okay.
And like Lord Aaron, John Arryn or whatever might have done something. Like I said, he was finding too much out, so now there's some motive to kill him and off him.
Okay. So why is finding Gendry motive to kill him? And if it's motive to kill him, isn't it motive to kill him? Like if you found Gendry, I would think it's motive for the person whose bastard it is, right?
To kill Lord Arryn, or the Hand, whatever his name.
Whose
John.
bastard do you think this is?
We already been through that 100 times.
It's Robert's bastard. So you think Robert killed John Arryn?
I don't know that he killed him, but maybe he had something to do with it. Yeah, I think there's more. Or Cersei, Robert's wife.
Just, I feel like she would go after.
That's what I'm saying. That like he kept her. He probably kept this kid hidden from the wife. Yeah, exactly. And now Stannis and everybody's is in on this, and they've probably been going to all these brothels trying to find the mom.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay. That's a good guess. Last part of this chapter is they say Ned asked who paid the fee. Jeff didn't really know what this meant. Do you know what this means?
What?
It's the apprenticeship fee.
Yeah.
I just didn't know who it was.
Oh.
He's such a good metal worker that it's elite to be with him, so you have to pay him to be there.
I bet you that's how it is most of the time, because I think there's a lot of homeless
Definitely.
You can't just like walk up and be like, "Give me a job." Like,
It's the same thing with union. Same thing with joining the union.
What's
You
that?
have to pay fees. It's the same thing with joining a union nowadays.
Right. No, I
to
agree.
become an apprentice, you have to fucking pay money and go to school.
Right, and then you learn.
So he says the man was stout, round the shoulder, not so as tall as Ned, brown beard with a bit of red, heavy purple cloak. Didn't really get a good look at him though. And then Ned says like, "You know who Gendry is?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "It wasn't a question. You know who Gendry is." He's like, "He's a blacksmith's apprentice now. Whoever he was before he got here doesn't really matter to me." And then he goes back to his men. He's been like, "You find anything?" He's like, "Yes, I found it." And then he says, "King's bastard." So first, Kyle, do you have any
Well, I think it's
guesses of who do you think paid the fee? Like, how did he get here?
Well, it sounds like it's probably one of Robert's brothers.
Okay.
Probably Renly, I guess, because Stannis doesn't sound like he wants any part of this kid.
And he was with John though.
Yeah, it still sounds like he doesn't want any part of him.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how does John know about this kid?
Well, the other thing
Stannis
is,
with him.
Renly dresses flamboyantly, and this guy's in purple robes, bright purple robes.
That's true. I'm just saying Stannis was with him, so if Stannis doesn't know about him and Stannis is discovering this boy for the first time with John, how does John find out about the boy? Because Ned found out through asking John Squire from one of John's people who said John went here. So how does John know to go there? If not Stannis,
Like I said, I
who's
mean,
the
all
one
the
with
stuff
him.
that we learned before. He was, like, talking to all these people. He was working, going to all the brothels, and, like,
Okay.
that kind of backs up with the Stannis not being all about the brothels. They
That's
weren't
true.
going there for pleasure. It
Yeah,
was
they're
business.
going for there for something else. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Besides that, anything? So besides this whole chapter is kind of like unraveling some of the, like, starting some of the intrigue in the Ned storyline.
So I would say that the chapter got better, understanding it better. Maybe that was part of my problem. So maybe it's a 4 or 5 now. How's that?
So besides
looking?
besides that, what do we find out at the beginning? Just the them giving more people to the Night's Watch. So yeah, most or not the Night's Watch to the City Watch. So yeah, okay. I guess that is the bulk of the chapters. This the second part. All right. Well, that will go into the spoiler section.
Alrighty. See you, Cal.
So, thanks
All right,
everyone
Cal,
for listening.
have a good one,
And
friend.
we'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah,
Unless
later,
anyone
guys.
else, Kyle, Jeff, have anything to add?
Let's get the hell out of here.
All right, let's go. See you guys in the next one. See you in the spoiler section.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Kyle. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Now on to the spoilers section of Eddard 6. Guys, what are your hot takes for this?
Let's see. Let me get to the spoiler section of my notes. I had a decent amount. Jeff told me a few. First off, we got our very beginning of the chapter. We're going to go through chronologically for my spoilers. We'll go through mine first, and then you guys can say if you missed anything. First off, first part of the chapter, we're introduced to Janice Slint.
Yeah, what a douchebag. What a
That
douche
fucker.
canoe.
We know later he is like the guy who he's like very instrumental in Ned's
Yeah.
death, right?
Ned's
he's
death.
He's the leader of the City
later
Watch,
on
so he
in, like,
commands everyone who captures him. Yeah.
I mean, then he goes to the wall. He's got a big. He
Oh
plays
yeah,
a big
and
part
he's a
in this
cock later on in
story.
the wall. Yeah, dude, he's a major character who doesn't seem like a huge character, and you're like he's just kind of like a very minor on the edge of where the action always is. Like in the first book, the action is here. He's like kind of a fringe character. Once the action starts happening in King's Landing again with Tyrion and Sansa and shit, he's a fringe character again. I guess
Here's
he's there
how
before
you-
he marries Sansa because he's
Here's
Tyrion
how you
sends him away.
describe Janice Slint. He's a pawn that thinks he's a knight.
Exactly.
In the
that's
game-
that's
in
a
the
great
game
way
of
to-
chess.
I think
In
somebody
the game
says
of
that
chess.
something similar to that about him later in book 5.
Tyrion probably says
I
it.
think somebody says something about that.
'Cause
Second,
me and Tyrion are just on the same wavelength.
I was wondering. I asked Jeff about this. I'm glad we're doing full disclosure. We're doing spoiler section first here. I'm glad we're doing that here though, because some of this stuff I don't know if Kyle's gonna catch on to in like when he reads
Well,
it. So we'll have to decide
Do you
whether
think he's gonna think, Gendry is Robert Skin?
he says it at the end. Ned says it at the end.
Yeah, come on, Glow. Read closely.
Does he say the last word?
He said, "What's he want to do with the king's bastard?"
Ah, that's true.
So he says that. I think though there's a little hint here about Joffrey not being there because they talk about the black hair of his bastard, but they also talk about how he's reading the book, but they don't really talk about the actual history and lineages. And I think it's not even in the book. I think Ned's just thinking to himself about Lan the Clever.
Right. He doesn't even say. It's just like an old.
He
folktale.
says like he skips to the Lannister pages again, like he did like before. But
it
then
just
he just
starts
starts
with
thinking about Lan
whatever
the
of the
Clever.
land.
Let me find what I got about Lan.
Well, it also talks about Gendry's mom having yellow hair.
That's one of the things I told Nelson wrote down. I can't wait
so
to
we'll
talk about it.
that. So, fuck, I can't find.
There was 2 big lines, Glow, that I had here. That was one of them.
Sorry, bud.
That's
I
okay.
didn't mean to steal your thunder, bud.
No worries. I actually think this is going to be better while Nelson searches for it because I feel like by the time we get rid of Kyle, I'm just like we're like 45 minutes into talking about it. That
I feel
don't
like it
wanna
normally.
talk anymore.
I feel like it normally
I
wakes you back
gotcha.
up. I feel like it normally wakes you back. The spoiler section wakes you back up because you talk about the stuff that's like we're still early in the book, so like this part we know so well, it's kind of monotonous, and like I can tell that when I'm going on and explaining something, especially something that like you guys both know really well, and I'm kind of explaining it to Kyle. Sometimes you guys can like get bored, especially
Yeah.
Jeff. So hopefully this, I don't know, switches it up. But so what I found what I had on Lan the Clever, and if you got any of you guys remember anything about him, it's basically all just what they say in this chapter. Do you guys remember what they say?
So I know the basis. Like he pretty much
Stole-
stole Castle Rock without a weapon, just his wits.
Yeah.
I don't know the story behind that story. And then
And he stole.
First off, I
want
wanna
to
say, how sweet would it be-
or something like that?
How
he got his gold hair from the sun. Yeah, like he.
how sweet would it be if they made a like this is a bad example, but like Black Mirror, like what other kind of show is like not episodic where the episodes don't really matter to each other like chronologically,
Black Mirror is a good.
just like or like any
Um,
sitcom where like the order you watch doesn't really matter.
The
If they
Twilight
did-
Zone.
Yeah, Twilight Zone. If they did that but it doesn't really have to be like fucky. And that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying like how the episodes
Just like
don't
random
relate.
episodes.
Just
of
how they don't relate to each other. If
Game
they
of
did
Thrones
that for
history.
Game of Thrones and they did like a 3-episode
Just
deal,
stories.
or almost like what HBO does, miniseries, like 4 episodes. They did like a 4-episode miniseries on Land the Clever and how he like his shit, and they do like Simon Star Eyes and like whatever his shit was, and I don't know, just like kind of fringe stuff that they'll never get to talk about. So why not make?
I mean, there's so
miniseries
much
about it?
possibilities of what you could do with a Game of Thrones franchise. It's
Yeah, but Land the Clever seems like a Tyrion times 100 type character, just super witty, just tricks everyone. But yeah, so he tricks him out of the castle. His name is Lan, and the Lannisters. So you can assume he's like the founding father, where they get their last name.
what do you think is actual like land? What?
I think,
'Cause
his
Lan
name,
the-
that's, I think
the
I think his
shitbag.
first name is Lan, and then that becomes the last. They turn that into
Right,
a
but
last
I'm
name.
sure he's referred to as not just land. Like he had a name.
I don't know, dude. This was way
Lan,
back.
son of.
This is Age of Heroes
Casterly.
time. This is like
Dude,
300 years
so
ago.
you're saying that families didn't have names? What do you mean?
I'm not
The
saying.
first
Probably like Bjorn's
Yeah,
son
maybe
or something,
no.
you know?
I don't know.
land son of it's just like land son of the first.
I don't know.
name
Maybe
of
you're
the
right,
dad?
but I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either. I'm just
Land the
curious.
first.
So, but the important part out of this land thing is that he stole. It says he stole his gold from the sun to brighten his curly hair. So that is like the only piece of evidence Kyle would have for connection to Joffrey or anything. Again, Kyle doesn't seem too big on trying to solve any mysteries. He just seems to be like along for the ride, which we're trying to change. But we'll see if this sparks anything. I doubt it will right
It's
now.
definitely not going to.
But I think there's obviously an importance to this book. But okay. Let's see. Next thing I had. So, when Ned is walking through, going to see the armorer, he hits the Street of Steel, and
Uh-huh.
when he's about to get there, somebody comes through the mud gate.
Beric Dondarrion.
And
Dondarrion.
the only real description we get of him, besides what he's wearing, he's wearing like a black cloak with like stars all over it. Besides that, he has red gold hair, which is like fire colors, right? That's what
Yeah.
a fire looks like. Is that little foreshadowing glow? Did we see in the? Do you guys remember if in the Dunk and Egg stories, the Dondarrions they meet there have red hair?
No, I don't fucking remember.
I don't know what you're foreshadowing talking about. What he's
He's
Just
talking
like that,
about,
he's going to
like,
become
him
the fire
being
god
like
and
a-
die a bunch of times.
Yeah,
What the
I
fuck
was
do you
gonna
mean?
say work for the red. Well, red gold doesn't mean shit, dude. That's
It
just
looks like
someone's
fire.
description.
Kissed by fire.
Yeah, come on, Glow.
Nah, come on, man.
My
It
thing
says red
is,
gold hair.
like,
It's
do
hair.
they?
I'm taking Jeff's position on this one, where a description is sometimes just a description, guys. Fuck off. Where does it say it looks like fire?
It does. It just says red gold.
Yeah,
Well, I
fuck
think-
off.
My thing with them, like talking about Beric, are they trying to say that Beric was the guy that then paid for Gendry?
No.
All right, who
Yeah,
paid
that's
for
who I'm
Gendry?
confused.
So here was gonna
Yeah,
be weird
I
because
don't-
we're gonna talk about this in the non-spoiler section too. So it's gonna be weird. But I have one person that I'll talk about with Kyle.
Was
Yeah,
it
but we're not gonna
Varys in
reveal
a,
it.
was it Varys in a disguise?
There's two main theories I think on the internet.
Varys in a disguise.
I thought Varys at first. Varys in a disguise. That's what I thought. That is one of the main theories on the internet. The other one that I saw when I googled did Varys, I thought it was Varys. So just before this, because Jeff asked me, I was like, did Varys give him the money? And it says a lot of people think it was Jon Arryn too, but I don't think that makes sense that it could be Jon Arryn, because how could Jon Arryn give the money for his apprentice fees? But Jon Arryn, they say, why did Jon Arryn come to see you? He says he just wanted to like look at me and ask about my mother. Why would Jon Arryn go and ask about his mother if he was the one who put him there and paid for the fees? You know what I mean? Like Jon Arryn didn't know.
Well, he
who
was asking if they're treating him right. Like, I dropped you off here. Are they
that's
treating
true.
you
But
right?
he also asked about his mother and stuff. If he dropped him off,
Yeah.
why ask about that?
Oh, he
The
probably
only
doesn't
the only
take it
other
off
thing
then.
why that can make sense is if maybe he wanted to prove to Stannis. So maybe Jon Arryn dropped him off, right? Knows everything about him, knows the answers he's gonna say, like what he's gonna say about his mom. So he's trying to convince. Maybe Jon Arryn was trying to convince Stannis of the incest, and he's like, "Dude, come here. I'll prove it to you with this bastard." Take Stannis there, and then ask the boy questions that will prove it to Stannis. And that's why, because Gendry says like Stannis didn't say anything. He just stood there staring at me like I'd committed a crime, or like I was a raper.
Yeah, he raped his daughter.
So maybe Jon Arryn paid the fee, But he would have.
Is that what you've done in your like outside research? You've seen Varys and John Aaron are the two names.
Well, I thought it was. I just Googled this in between now and 20 minutes ago. When me and you were talking about it. I said when I read it, I thought it was Varys, so I Googled did Varys do it, and it said the two main people that I saw people were talking about were Varys and John Aaron. That's the only way I can see John Aaron doing it, because at first glance it doesn't make sense for someone to go there to see a person to ask about their mother if you were the one that dropped them off there and know who they were. I don't know. What do you guys think,
I'm just looking something up real quick.
Jeff?
I think it's Varys.
Think Varys? So why?
I think
So
it's
the
Varys
other thing with
playing,
Varys,
like,
I don't
two
get the
sides.
motive. Some people think
I
one
just
thing
think
I
it's
saw.
a little bit of like, he's playing the shit on the other side of the sea. I think this is just like his other. It's just like another avenue for him to be conniving and like
That so well, somebody said something similar that this was his backup plan. That if Daenerys and the whole Vagon thing fell through, he has a very muscular king's bastard who potentially has claim to the throne, right? Because he's Robert's son, and maybe his oldest son. Actually, I don't think so. I think we find Maya Stone is his oldest, but doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. So, Glow.
All right, here's the description of the guy that paid him. He was stout, round of shoulder, brown beard, with a bit of red in it. Rich cloak with heavy purple velvet and silver threads.
Okay, so I looked up John Aaron's appearance from when he was younger. John had broad shoulders, so this guy says round of shoulders. I think that aligns. But the only other thing it says here on Wiki of Fire and Ice about John is half his teeth had fallen out by the time he married Lysa. So he has no teeth, which makes you think maybe that he would have brought that up, right? Like the guy I'm talking to had no teeth, but maybe you get fake teeth. Blue eyes, blonde hair.
I think John Aaron's pretty old and can't have a brown beard.
It says blue eyes, blonde hair, but you can have blonde hair and brown. Like my beard's darker than my hair is.
Yeah, my dad is blonde with red beard.
So
Red
I don't know.
Where does it say blue eyes, blonde hair?
I'm getting that from John Aaron's thing on Wikipedia that I looked up.
I just
looked that up
like
before
we
this.
know
It's not John
Varys
Aaron.
has worn crazy disguises before.
I don't think.
I just
So I don't think it's John Aaron either. I was just putting that out there.
I think it's Varys.
I think it's Beric.
Barrick?
What is the
Yeah.
point of them
Why would
introducing
Beric-
Beric in this
I
chapter?
don't know, but he knows it. He works for the Lord of
Mouse.
Light somehow.
What's the point of introducing Beric in this chapter?
Barrick's hair is hold on. Barrick's hair is gold red, not brown red. Why would they introduce him? Just so it's a slow roll.
My friends have blonde hair, but their beards come in a little brown and reddish.
Just so it's a. I think just the only reason they introduce him here is just as a slow roll, so that next Ned chapter when the tournament happens, it's not like there was 100 knights. They're like trying to.
What
throw
does
a
he
few
end up
at the end
doing
there.
in
They
the
throw
tournament?
Janice Slint in here. They throw, huh?
What does he end up doing in the tournament? Does he lose?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he wins.
So the other thing,
Why not?
Loris was mentioned here when they talk about Marjorie.
The Night of the Flowers, yeah. Well, he was mentioned twice. He was mentioned about Marjorie and then about his armor got done at the same place.
Oh yeah, that is
so
twice. Good
yep.
job.
But so he was talked about once before. Then this. You guys remember when?
He was talked about once before.
Cat
he
4,
was-
chapter 18.
Did
Didn't,
Sansa
who-
bring him up or something?
Cat. I think it was
Cat
Cat.
did?
Or no. It was when Cat was talking about the dagger. I'll read it. I have the quote here. Until the tourney on Prince Joffrey's name day, he said, crossing the room to wrench the dagger from the wood. I backed Sir Jaime in the jousting, along with half the court. Peter's sleepish grin made him look half a boy again. When Loras Tyrell unhorsed him, many of us became a trifle poorer. Sir Jaime lost 100 golden dragons, the queen lost an emerald pendant, and I lost my knife. Her grace got the emerald back, but the winner kept the rest. So Loras was the one who unhorsed Jaime in the bet that lost the dagger. Potentially. Because Tyrion, the thing is,
that
Tyrion
fakely
says, we
lost
know
the
Tyrion
dagger.
didn't win it in a bet, but somebody might have won it in a bet. Maybe Littlefinger won it in a bet from Tyrion. Who knows? Whatever. But yeah, so Loras was mentioned before then. I just thought I'd bring it up. Let's talk about this Marjorie part.
Marjorie.
He thinks it's weird that, like,
So
one,
Renly,
it's weird. Huh?
So like,
what happens? So Glow, give a recap. What happens here?
All right, so basically,
It's just
Renly
just
pulls
something Ned
Eddard
thinks
aside.
about. It's just something Ned thinks about. Like,
Yeah,
weird.
Ned's thinking about it, but Renly
That's what I was
previously
gonna say.
brought Ned aside and like showed him a locket with a picture of Marjorie in it.
It wasn't a picture; it was a
And he's-
statue.
Oh,
It is
mini
weird because
statue.
it says
That's right.
it's in a locket, but it does say it's a painted statue. Yeah, mini
It's a
statue.
mini statue.
He's like, "Are you curious?"
Who does it look like?
And
He's
he
like, I don't know.
he says, "Does it look like Lyanna?" He says, "No." He looks.
And then that's when
Renly
Ned's
looks
like-
disappointed. What's the deal with this, Glow?
Well, Ned thinks it's weird that Robert loved Lyanna, and now the little brother wants to date a girl that looks like Lyanna.
Okay.
And I don't know what's weird.
It's also
about
weird because Renly
You-
might be gay.
You think? Yeah. So.
that. Oh, Renly's gay. Oh, yeah, that's weird too.
So
but
you think
that-
that's what it
that
is? You
points
think
in the-
Renly just has the hots for this girl? Because if so, why is he upset that she doesn't look like Lyanna? Like, if he just thinks she's hot, then who cares if Ned thinks it looks like Lyanna? Like, would Renly really give a fuck if a younger version of Robert likes a younger version? Like, it makes no sense.
It's weird. It's weird what Renly's.
Going after here. So
Yeah.
what's he going after here? There's something else behind this.
Do you?
Renly's
You
a-
have the answer.
Renly's
You're
up to
asking
something.
us to
Yes,
unfold it.
Renly's up to something. He was up to it in the show too.
Is he trying to? Oh, he wants to make a marriage pact, right?
Everyone knows. I'll give you guys a hint. Everyone on the small council knows of the incest.
Sure.
Yes.
So if you know of the incest, what do you think? What's your first assumption?
New king.
What's going to happen soon?
War.
War is
War.
going to happen soon. So John Aaron. So a couple things. This causes a couple things. So a lot of people think Littlefinger spread this rumor to cause a couple things because everyone first thing they assume is war is going to happen. Maybe they're not going to tell Robert because they know their ass is on the line if it's not true and they just heard it from Littlefinger. So who the fuck knows if it is true? Type deal, and everything adds up. But this caused a couple things. Robert Aaron starts getting foster places because John Aaron's old, gonna die soon. When that happens, one of the quarters, the west of the realm, is up for grabs, right? Whoever holds Robert Aaron holds
The veil.
the Vale. I guess that's the east, right? They hold the Warden of the East because John Aaron's going to be dead. So what does John Aaron try to do? We find out in this chapter. Where does John Aaron try to foster him?
Dragonstone.
Dragonstone with Stannis. He
Dragonstone.
tries to give the army, his armies in the wars if he dies, to Stannis. What did we
So
hear earlier? What did we
Renly's
hear
trying to-
earlier?
Renly's trying to get some of his. He's trying to get some armies behind him.
Hold on, no. You're jumping to conclusions.
yes.
What do we hear? What do we hear earlier in this book about
Stannis doesn't like whores.
about fostering of Robert Aaron?
That Tywin wanted to do it.
Somebody suggested that Tywin get him fostered. There.
Cersei probably did,
and
or
Robert. Robert was going to do it, right? This causes Lysa to leave. So the spreading of the incest causes. That's what fucking John Aaron does, and that's what Stannis do. Right? Their plan is, okay, let's get John Aaron, get him out of here. Fucking what Renly's gonna do is like, there's gonna be war. Let's get the Tyrells on our side by promising them that they can have the next queen. How is he gonna convince Robert to marry a Tyrell girl?
because she looks like Lyanna.
Robert loves Lyanna. This girl fucking looks like Lyanna. She's perfect. Robert will marry her once he finds out about the incest and wars break out. And because of that, we'll have the Tyrells backing us, the Lannisters' biggest rival. They'll be done.
But
That's
so
Renly's
what
plan.
do you
So
think,
these are all the different plans that people are playing because they find out about the incest, right? Everything in this chapter is like, here's everyone's plans unfolding.
Yeah, that's true.
The beginnings
Well,
of everyone.
So what changes from Renly? I guess Robert dies. That's
Robert
why
dies.
He
So
tries
he's
to
like,
become king.
yeah.
Huh.
Damn, I never really thought of that.
Dope, right? And the same thing happens in the. I'm pretty sure this happens in the show, but you're right. In the show, I think he shows her a picture or something, a painting of her.
I don't remember her being.
She never comes to King's Landing because Robert dies. This is like one of the only parts of it.
What's the actress who plays Marjorie's name?
Natalie Dormer.
Oh,
Total smoke. She's not that hot in other shows and movies though. She's like super hot in Game of Thrones.
Another thing, real quick. That I only have two more things I'll touch on. I don't know how long we've been going so far, but 20 minutes.
we're
okay.
fine.
Tabo Mott says he has a bunch of different skills. He says he makes the protective armor, the best looking armor. It's art in the city. He says he can dye armor deeper colors than anyone else. But he has another skill. Do you guys remember?
Selling his product.
No. And Tabo Mach comes up later in this book, later in the series a couple times for this skill.
Putting like antlers on
He
helmets
can
and shit.
reforge Valyrian steel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's the one who eventually forges down ice into
Ice. Yeah, I knew that.
All right,
I did think that when I read it, but I just didn't think about it. When I read it.
Okay. Well, he's okay because he says it when you read it. I didn't say it just now. All right. Last thing is a quote. The last thing I have is just a quote Jeff told me to write down, and it says, "It's when Tabo
Wait, let's talk about Gendry's mom. Do we want to say anything about that?
Yellow hair.
yellow hair." So it just proves that Robert's
The seed is
jizz
strong.
seed is
seed
strong
is
enough to overcome yellow hair.
strong.
Yeah, and that's what they eventually find out in the book as well. And then the other
All right,
thing that
my
Tabo
big
Mach
quote.
says is, Jeff,
I don't have it in front of me. You read it.
I don't have the full thing, but the quote, the small quote is, "His hands were made for hammers." I think it's when Ned said, "Who paid his fees?" And Tabo Mach's like, "Look at him. Look how strong he is. He's such a strong
Yeah.
boy. His hands were made for hammers.
Such a strong
Do you
boy.
do you see the line there, Glow?
His hands were made for hammers." Robert Baratheon.
Come on, Glow.
Yeah. I mean, Warhammers.
Warhammer.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
get it.
duh.
Idiot
We'll say
Glow.
something about it.
Idiot.
It's an awesome line.
I didn't know what you meant. Like, oh, it's meant for hammers. Yeah.
When
he's
I read
fucking
that, I got
Robert's son.
fucking jacked up. I was like, "Oh, they mean Warhammer, not fucking blacksmith hammer."
It's a sweet line. I thought it was weird that when Ned looks at his eyes, did you guys think this was weird? He says
Blue.
Ned looks at him closely.
Blue as ice.
His jawline and his eyes were blue as ice. I mean, maybe Robert has blue eyes, but that's still kind of like.
Yeah, I think Robert does have blue eyes, but it
Icy.
is weird. I didn't like that they used the word ice. Maybe he's a Stark.
Every time I hear ice, I get a little.
No.
spooked. And what else you guys got? I'm sure I missed a few things in there.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I got nothing on this really.
I mean, the big things I had were the mom being a blonde as
Like,
well, and
Blondie.
then the hammer line. Is there anything with Gendry being a bull? I mean, is that
No.
any symbology there?
So Jon and Stannis weren't friends. So why do they work together here?
Because Stannis would be the rightful heir.
Stannis to be the rightful heir. He is very dutiful.
Okay, so I could see why Stannis is.
And
so
Stannis also doesn't hate Robert, so he would take Robert's side and help him out.
So Jeff, Glow, you're Stannis. Jeff, you're Jon Arryn. I'm Littlefinger. I whisper in both of you guys' ear, yo, Joffrey, all those kids, not real. They're fucking incest babies. Look at their hair. Do some research. Don't do some research if you don't believe me. I just tell you both that. I tell everyone on the council that. What makes you two go to each other, right? Why does Stannis not go to Renly? I get that they're not friends, but like Ned says here, Jon and Stannis are never friends. They're like cordial, right?
Well,
so why?
I think, obviously, I think Stannis knows him for a while. Stannis knows him, Stannis and Aaron both know each other for a while. They both have a mutual respect. They know what each other are thinking. How long have they been on the council for? So, like, they probably know who they can trust by this
I guess,
point.
and like, so when Ned's first riding to the hill, he says like, "Oh, Jon doesn't like fancy armor. Why would he go here?" We find out later, but like he says that Jon maybe changed his taste, so maybe they became friends, but I don't know.
Doesn't Sir Hugh of the Vale wear the armor?
No, he might get his own fancy armor or something, but he says that Jon Arryn didn't buy anything. But that's not the point. I don't know.
I just think after years of knowing each other.
I don't know, Nelson. I don't know. I have no clue.
Who else can you turn to?
Because I get why they both want to, why they're trying to prove it's real. I get why Renly's taking the actions he is to like try and set it up. I don't know. I don't know why does Pycelle not like alert Cersei and have them do something? I don't know.
Maybe Littlefinger knows well enough not to talk to Pycelle.
Yeah, maybe he didn't tell Pycelle, but I'm pretty sure Pycelle says at one point that he knows. I'm pretty sure everyone on the council at one point admits to knowing, except for Barristan and Robert. But Robert's not really there. But I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else?
Nope. Let's let Kyle get in.
Nope.
All right.
All right. See you later, guys. Great episode. Like and subscribe us on YouTube, Spotify, Pornhub, and
There's a lot in this one, so
anything
if
else.
we missed anything, definitely write us in, and we'll talk about it in the next one.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Peace.